And.
Coming down from her Sinai experience, it's a big deal.
It's such a crazy trip, this Israel Jewish thing, but it's very real. I mean,
well, the whole world, Israel and Galut, celebrated a special 2 days this year.
And I told all the people. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What are you referring to?
Well, you had the Chag and then you had Shabbat.
Right.
And in Galut there were 2 days Shavuot, but we all had two holy days together.
Yeah,
right.
That's rare.
But yeah, Shabbat Shavuot. Boy, I have to remember how to do those. What do you do the Shavuot? You don't do the Shavuot reading on Shabbat.
We do the Torah readings for second day Shavuot.
And which Torah reading do you do?
It was Habakkuk and oh gosh, I don't remember now.
Oh, so wait, you don't do this is where our parshiot go off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
so you don't do Nassau till next week?
Oh no, I think wait.
That's right.
Malcolm, what do we do? Oh, is that right?
Well, no, I'm actually going according to the Israeli minhag because I feel I'm considering, I feel myself Israeli, so I'm staying with but it's Nassau next week. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I did that. Did it.
Also,
in every case, Rabbi Joe, welcome. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
What we'll be discussing is returning to this text, Yesh lecha kanfei ruach, you have wings of spirit, about it's more the inside stuff, when we've been spending so much time on the outside, and this is very important, really important.
So we're in Nassau next week.
You're in which?
Nassau next week.
Yeah, exactly. So you do. So this is where you go. You get a week behind us. All right. That's right. So you did on Shabbat. It's Shavuot takes precedence.
Yeah. That was surprising. And then you have Yizkor on Shabbat too, which is weird.
Wow. Man, I guess Chazal really wanted to let you know you're not in Israel. Or I like that. There's something interesting.
And
okay.
And it forces you not to be, like you have to constantly think, because when I got to shul, I didn't really know what we were doing.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to bring up the text and here is the Hebrew, and okay. Just 1 minute of the sorry.
The Torah wasn't given on Shabbat, was it?
There's a tradition that it was.
Uh-huh.
Well, you see, there's also, we don't have a specific date. 6 of Sivan is not even listed as that. That becomes the unique thing about Shavuot. So
we go backwards rather than
295.
Also, a lot of people spell Shavuot with 2 vavs.
Huh.
But the Shavuot in the Torah is written just with 1 vav.
Right. And it means the weeks after the 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, listen, whatever it is, it's an extraordinary reality that we're part of, that this actually happened, and okay, so now Rav Kook, this chapter is called, I have the title here, I think. Yeah. The title of chapter 5 is Lechaim Shleimim Umleim. In order to have a complete and full life. And then the first chapter 5 of that is Shavim Anu El Musgei HaTeva. We return to the natural concepts, to the Musa. We return to the natural realm. And, let's read the intro to it that the machine gave us. A foundational text by Rav Kook discussing the nature of the highest spiritual experience, often referred to as the holiness of existence. Kedushat Havaya, and its connection to the revolutionary forces of the Messianic era. All right, well, let's see. It's notebook 2, wrote it in Yafo, and let's bring up the Hebrew. HaKedusha ha'elyona hi Kedushat ha'dumiyah. The highest silence, the highest holiness is the holiness of silence. Kedushat ahavaya, the holiness of existence. Havaya is the one way we can say Yud Kei Vav Kei, because here it's Yud Kei Vav Kei as existence. But it's Havaya, so it's the Kedushat and then literally Havaya, it's our current experience. Sheha'adam makir et atzmo, and in this state of the holiness of silence, it's beyond words, we can't give it words. We're experiencing the holiness of existence. I guess every sort of little bit of it that we come into contact with. Sheha'adam makir et atzmo, and in that state, we experience ourselves batel bepnimiyuto hapratit, negated, annulled in our own private inner being. We blend into the all, and we no longer even identify ourselves as individual beings or separated beings. V'chai chayei klalim, and in that experience, we're living the life of the collective, the life of all. Chayei kol, the life of all. Let's go to the translation. The supreme holiness is the holiness of stillness. Dumia, silent stillness, the holiness, Kedushata, the word is a havaya, it's not hohoveh, Kedusha havaya. In that state, we recognize our own particular private inner self as nullified. We no longer identify as a separate, private being separated from the world. And at that moment, we live a universal life, the life of the all. We feel like we're living the life of the all. Okay, Rav Kook continues. Margishu et chayei hadomem. We feel the life of all the different levels of life, and he's now going to list them. We feel the life of the silent. It's again the word dumiyah and domem, but it's the in Jewish I guess it's more philosophy than Kabbalah. I mean, in Kabbalah they have other words for it, but domem is the mineral state. It's matter. Everything, but not individually alive matter. Like, I guess it's mostly stones. What else is soil has already got seeds in. Someach is the sprout. We feel the life of the okay, domem is defined, it makes no noise. It's that part of the world just sitting there quiet, no movement, nothing, not making any noise. So that is the rocks. Hatzomeach is the sprouting, the vegetative realm, which is everything that sprouts from the ground and fruits and vegetables. That's the tzemach. So we're feeling all these levels of existence, the hachai, and the living being separated from the ground, living independently. And, we're the mammals, but worms on is all that level of high where that which is alive is separated. It's in its own enclosure on the earth, in the water, so wherever it is, but it's all high. And then it comes high haklal kulo. We feel we're living the experience of the entirety of everything, and then he takes it to the human realm. Shakol medaber, of every speaker, shakol ish mi ishei ha'adam, of every person among the people of the world, chaye kol sechel, the life of every intellect, kol makir, every recognizer who has a hakara, has I guess, a certain clarity about something. Kol masig, anyone who hasaga, hakara, they're all levels of the sechel. The sechel makir, the sechel masig, the kol margish, and of every feeling.
How would you translate masig?
I would like every comprehension. Let's see how they translate it. At that point, we sense the life of the inanimate, the vegetative, and the animal, the life of the entire collective. And now it goes to us, of every sentient being, of every human individual, the life of every intellect, every knower, every achiever. Every kind of achiever, you've and yes, yeah. So it's an achievement who can, and it's also the capacity to be able to have something or reach something that you're not at now. It's growth.
Is it grasping as well?
Well, hasaga, it's a type of intellectual enlightenment.
Mm.
It's more in like, you've grasped something.
Right.
It's an intellectual,
right.
It's a brain thing or consciousness. And so is knowing. These are all different. But at that point, you're somehow part of all that, because we're sensing at that point of where we're living the life of all. And he's describing the experience of enlightenment, I assume. And then we can feel the inanimate, the vegetative, the animal, the entire collective, every human being, every intellect, every knower, achiever, feel we're one with all. And the entirety, and then what happens, the good news is, וההוויה כולה מתעלה עמו למקורה. And then the entire existence elevates with this being to its source, to its root. We serve as the elevators for all existence. והמקור מתגלה תמיד עליה, ועליו ברוב הדר, בהוד קדושה, and then the makor, which is the source, you're really in touch with the source, is revealed. Alea refers to existence, I think. The alav, and upon the person, with great splendor and the glorious holiness, be'emet, with truth, ubenachat, and tranquility. It's Shabbat is for lanuach. It's in that. Let's read the translation. And that when someone is in this very, very large open consciousness and connected to the all, well, then the entirety of existence, the all, is then elevated with that human being to its source, and the source is always repealed upon it, upon the all, and upon him, the person in great glory and the splendor of holiness and truth and serenity. I mean, I guess he's experienced it. He couldn't describe it if he didn't, he can't theorize about these things. And then, Kol ha'osher, all the happiness, Kol ha'tov, all the goodness, v'hayosher, and the yosher is in everything with integrity, all the yashar, derech hayashar, all the honesty. It's the word for integrity, honesty, and of course it's interesting, osher and yosher. Aleph and Yud switch, and they're profound, because he's explaining here you can't have Osher without Yosher. And Yosher in Israel is our way to Osher. Ashrei ha'am, Yashar ha'am. Ashrei ha'am shu can be Yashar, because it's all about being, and then all the happiness, all the good, all the integrity. Kol ha'oz v'hatiferet. All the oz is the might, it's power. Tiferet, all the splendor, the beauty. Kol, maybe this also. Kol ha'chel v'hagvura. Their words of power. Shofim olav. Flow upon you. And in many ways, Israel is having. We've had to open these gates for this flow. And Baruch Hashem. All happiness, all goodness and righteousness, all strength and majesty, all might and valor flow upon him. And we become a whole human being. That the topic is, what does it mean to become whole? All of these flow upon him. Just want to see one thing here in terms of Osh 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, not sure if that's related or not, but we just want to see how many categories. Osher, Tov, Yosher, Oz, Tiferet, Chel, and Gvura. Listen, that's a wonderful combination. If we can have all of that part of our being fully manifested, fully alive, fully pouring forth, Oro Shel Olamhu. You become a light for the world, a light of the world. Now we're a light in the world. Yesodo ve'ometz hamshachat chayav. not only are you a light for the world, but you're actually its foundation, and you're offering the strength, omets, the courage, the bravery to hamshachat chayav, to continue life, where we sustain life. Bischuto, in the merit of that person, nizon ha'olam kulo, the entire world is sustained. So it's on that level, the connection between us and this world that we're in. At this point, we are the light of the world. We're its foundation and the strength for the we're offering the strength for the continuation of its life. And it's in our merit. The entire world is nourished, and ke'ein u'ke'efes hu be'enav. The person themselves doesn't see themselves, they see themselves as nothing. Because they're no longer connected to their personal, private self. They're experiencing the all. And
But
so
this stems from being able to be silent and connect to our source.
Yeah, and link to the higher, yeah. And so the Nazir, for example, was cultivating this in all his silence. And yet, in your own eyes, whereas not in nothingness, when this, then hu eino mitkadesh nivdal venifrash. You don't. Mitkadesh literally means sanctify. You don't sanctify yourself. But I think here it means you don't make yourself as holier than anything else. You don't. You don't make yourself holy over anything. Nivdal, you don't separate. Venifrash, and you don't leave. Divide and separate. I guess nivdal is divide, nifrash is to separate. Let's see how they translate. In that point, we do not actively sanctify, separate, or withdraw. Yeah, here's where the machine doesn't understand the context. Because actively sanctify, it's a reasonable translation for that, but you are in this whole state of holiness at this time. You are in sanctity. So the kedusha here is in your relationship to existence. So what do we do in that time if we're not feeling separate from existence in any way? Chayu, we live. V'kol chayav kodesh kodashim, and all our lives is the holy of holies. Chayei chayim hem, they are the life of life. Dofkei levavo, the beating of your heart. Merutzat damo, the pulsation, the racing of your blood going through the circulatory system. She'ifot nafsho, the aspirations of your being. Histakluto v'mebat einav, everything you look at and everything you see. Hakol chayei emet, it's all the life of truth. You're experiencing it as the life of truth. Chayei gvura Elohit, a life of divine power. Shotfim bahem, are flowing through this. Ve'al yadam, and through them are flowing to all of these levels, to the pulsations of our heart, our circulatory system, our aspirations, how we look at things. Chayei gvura Elohit, we become agents for the energy of divine power, because that's what's moving all this. Shotfim b'hem ve'al yadam, and then through these we become agents to continue it. Ve'im yapil atzmo kadosh hadumiya le'avoda metzumtzemet, and if a person who is experiencing this kadosh hadumiya, this holiness of the silence, it's a way of saying the largest holiness. If that person will fall or take themselves down, the avodah metzumtzemet, to constricted activity, constricted spiritual work, letfilah, to pray, letorah, to study Torah, letzimtzum musariyut v'daikanut pratiyot, to constrict yourself into sort of ethical, particular precision. You start sort of look at yourself so precisely and try to make sure that sort of nitpicking, v'daikanut pratiyut. And yeah, and this sort of nitpicking is maybe a good word for daikanut pratiyut. You're sort of, but it's where you really pay attention to your own private self. Your own focus is your own self. Yisbol v'yedukeh. If somebody does that, there's this bliss connection, and then they should have to say, oh, wait a minute, I have to do mincha, or I have to make sure this and that, and you sort of bring down to the everyday spirituality. Yisbol v'yedukeh. They'll suffer, and they'll be depressed. Yachush, they'll feel, ki neshama meli'ah kol hayekum, that a soul that is full with all existence, lochsim b'tzvatayim, that they're trying to lock it into, so I think it's like it's a type of, well, we'll see, let's read the translation. First of all, so if you're in this state, we simply are living, our entire life is Holy of Holies. And the life of life, our heartbeat, the flow of our blood, the aspiration of our soul, our contemplations, our gaze of our eyes, all of these are a life of truth, the life of divine might, power flowing through us. And by means of all of this, and if this holy man of stillness, so that's a reasonable, someone who's in this state, confines themselves to constricted service, to prayer, to Torah study, to a limitation of morality and specific meticulousness, they will suffer and they'll be crushed. They'll feel as though a soul that is filling all of existence is being squeezed by pincers. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. Squeezed by pincers, to confine the soul within the narrow oppression of a particular specific measure that you can say it's this amount and no more. It's like a locked into a limited measure just by being measured. To confine it within the narrow oppression of a specific measure, of marking out a unique path. I'm just going to go in this way, while the reality is all paths together are open before us. And all these paths are filled with life. And they're all treasuring life. So we don't want to make ourselves smaller. Yeah, להסגירה במעוקה מצומצמת של מידה, just that we put ourselves into a limited constriction of a measure. של התוויית דרך מיוחד, of choosing and defining a unique path. This is the way. I'm just going to go only in this way. To define ourselves, constrict ourselves in that way, בשעה שכל הדרכים יחד אינם לפניו פתוחים. And in the moment, in the hour when all the ways together are open. You don't have to choose one way. You can go this and this and this and this and this. That's above the different categories that you use. Because most people choose, am I going to, we give the different choices here of what you focus into. But he's talking about being a whole human being, so then we don't limit ourselves. Because in one moment, this is the right path to do, in another moment, it's not appropriate. We have to be able to do the opposite. And that all needs to be, we need to be free to do that. So if we restrict ourselves into one particular way, when everything is open before us, kulam le'im or, all the ways are full of light. Kulam otzrim chaim, they're all treasures of life. And therefore, what will happen historically, he's now bringing it into the whole medrash of the chutzpah de'ikved meshicha, the audacity, the rebelliousness, the disrespect to traditions and to so-called society truths and all of that. A chutzpah shebe'ikved meshicha, this audacity that is part of the footsteps of the messianic illumination. Ba'am mitoch tshuka pnimit, the chutzpah comes out of an inner passion, an inner yearning, lekdushat hadumiyah ha'elyonah, to reach that level of holiness, the holiness of the highest stillness, however we want to translate that. That's what we're looking for. We don't want anything less. V'sof shetagia, and we will reach it in the end. Ki atidin Israel. Israel is destined. Destiny. Like the word atid might be connected to destiny. Destiny may have somehow, because it's similar consonants. The future Israel is destined liot omdim, to stand lifnim, inside mechitzan shel malachei hasharet, in the enclosure of the angels of service and God's angels, the midrash, that we will reach this stage.
That means ministering angels, doesn't it?
The ministering angels, yeah, that's, yes. And then the midrash continues, the elu shoalim lahem ma pa'al el, and the angels of service will be asking Israel, what's God doing? Ma chidush b'yeshiva shamala, what's new in the yeshiva in the heavens? Bnei achatzpanim, the really chutzpahdik children of Israel, portzei hadrachim v'agdarim, that are the ones breaking down the paths and the fences. Atidim liot nevi'im mi'amadrega hayoter elyona. They are destined to be the highest level prophets. Mimadregato shel Moshe Rabbeinu, on the level of Moshe Rabbeinu, umizihara ilad Adam harishon, and on the level of elevated illumination of the Adam harishon before the sin, when in the Edenic perfection, Eitz HaChaim kulo, the entire tree of life, bekol omek tuvo, in all the depths of its goodness, yitgale b'hem, will be discovered, revealed within them, within Israel, or even, I guess, these prophets, the al yadam, and through them, lahavi ora elyona zu le'olam, to bring this elevated light into the world, tzrichim avodat tzadikim mla'ei chesed elyon. It requires the spiritual work of the righteous who are full of the highest chesed, hamegalim behigayon livavam, who reveal these tzaddikim by their reflections of their heart, vechishat nishmatam, and the sense, the feeling of their soul. They reveal through that et otzar hatov haganuz, the treasure, the hidden treasure of good, the treasure of good, haganuz, that is stored, besgulat hasgula shel chayei Israel, in the special skula, that's a double skula, in the very special treasure of the life of Israel. Maybe we'll, it's all commas. This is, I have to see where it ends. Maybe we should stop here. Let's read the English. And yeah, let's stop here and we'll continue the thing. But let's read the English of what we just did. Not that much, actually, but okay.
But it's amazing because it's not, it's all one sentence. It's going on and on and on, describing an exquisite state that is available. It's amazing.
But also, I think the way this is, yeah, that's true. But I see in the book, they have periods, in certain things to break it down. So, but in following it through. But let's just read the English now and see. So, if we are holy beings of stillness, and we confine ourselves to constricted service, prayer, Torah study, to limitations of morality, specific meticulousness, we will suffer and will be crushed. We will feel as though our soul that feels all of existence, is being squeezed by pincers, and to confine it within the narrow oppression of a specific measure, a specific group, a specific way, and of marking out a unique path, or only one path, while all paths together are open before us, and they're all filled with light. It's like going only to one restaurant your entire life, when there's so many good and so forth. All paths together are open before us. All of them are filled with light, and all of them are treasuring life. And therefore, the impudence, the chutzpah, in the footsteps of the Mashiach comes from an inner yearning, which we all have, and may we be blessed with this inner yearning, because what we yearn for most inwardly is ultimately what will happen. This is an inner yearning for the supreme holiness of stillness, and eventually we will attain it, because Israel is destined to stand inside the partition of the ministering angels. I guess where they can't go any further, we can go further. Who then will ask us, well, what's God done? What accomplished? What new insight in the celestial academy? So these impudent ones who break paths and fences are destined to become prophets of the highest degree, the level of Moshe Rabbeinu, and the supernal radiance of Adam HaRishon. And then the entire tree of life and the full depths of its goodness will be revealed in us and through us. Let's just read one more line. And to bring this supreme light into the world, there is a need for the labor, the work of the righteous, the tzaddikim, who are full of supreme grace, who can reveal through the logic of their hearts and the sensitivity of their souls the hidden treasure of goodness in the unique essence of the life of Israel. And let's leave it right there, because now it takes it to the world. And it's the conclusion of it. So may we be blessed. Well, to understand it's on this level of spiritual expansion that the divine wants us to be in. It's Yetziat Mitzrayim is leaving all the constrictions so that we can be experiencing our full spiritual the full experience, and it's this world of tov v'ra, everything keeps that back, but here Israel is here in order to bring us past all that and to really make a world v'kol chayav kodesh kodoshim, where all our life and all the life of the world, because we're the other part that he said here is, as we elevate, everything elevates with us. So I really want to bless us that we can elevate the entire world to a life of Kodesh, ourselves and the entire world to a life of Kodesh Kodoshim and just our full divine goodness. And the world experience will be of divine goodness. And may our learning and yearning and envisioning and dreaming bring complete victory to Tzva Ganal Israel and all the Kochot HaBitachon, and healing to the wounded, comfort to the mourners, elevation of the holy souls. I have to say this on Shabbat. Amen, amen, amen. On Shabbat, it was like one of the, by the time the Sudah Shlishit, there was a few people hanging out the shul, and one person came and sat with me at the table. Then we talked to each other more and more. It was just the two of us. And he explained that, his son was killed, like, I think 2 years ago in the war, in the Jabilia. It's a refugee camp or something, Jabalia. They went in there and they got sniped, and his son tried to save, and we're talking about the feeling of it, and I asked him also about, how his son's mother, his wife, how she said she's just crying a lot, and he said, I'm also crying a lot. And he certainly agreed when I said this, my understanding is this is the most difficult thing for a human being to go through, a parent losing a child. And he agreed immediately. Rav Kook lost 2 children. One died when she was like 2 years old or 1.5 years old. The other tragically fell downstairs, and he was there. And he was the first person to see her. And but also what he did say, which was quite mind-blowing, is at some point, on Shabbat or at some point, his son appeared to him. And he said to him, it's all going to be good, or it's all good. And he gave him this very positive
Mm.
message. And he said that, both for him and his wife, it was a real uh, source of encouragement, support. It's just something knowing that, yeah, it's amazing that his son, like, he had a vision and he spoke to him.
There's
So,
there's a really amazing book called Rachel Weeping for Her Children by
who?
Bert. It's called Rachel Weeping for Her Children by Bert Hellinger, who was a German priest, and actually he was in the Nazi Youth Party. He got out and became a priest. That's how he got out. He went into the priesthood, and then
Wow.
he decided that because his parents were not Nazis, but the children were being forced into the browncoats or whatever they're called, and so he asked his parents if he could go. He was Catholic, so he asked parents, "Can I go to? I want to go to the priesthood. It'll get me out of the Nazi Youth Party." So they said, go for it. And so he did it, and he was a priest for 20 years. And then he decided to leave the priesthood and get married. And he became a psychotherapist. And one of his missions was to work with Jewish Holocaust survivors and their children in Israel.
Mhm.
And so the book is all about his work. He has many books, but it's called Family Constellations. And it's doing exactly what you said, like kind of channeling these scenarios and these ancestors who were abused and murdered, and and create a healing process through that encounter. And the book is profound. It's amazing. And also, I told you that Catholic nuns turned me back to Judaism, and I asked them. These are Benedictines, and they're very religious and very amazing women. And I asked them, "Why didn't you convert me? Why did you try to convert me? You're turning back to my people." And I never wanted to be Catholic. I just was fascinated by these people. And they said, "No, God made you a Jew. You have a mission in this world. And when you're not doing your mission, we can't do ours. So we need the Jewish people to be fulfilling God's mission for you all, your people, so that we can, because Jesus, like we're following Jesus, but you have the Father, you have the direct connection." So
Wow.
I thought that was very enlightened. It's like, wow, I got to do Torah because I'm helping all these other people do their Torah, you know? So, and I never heard that before especially from a Catholic.
You,
Yeah.
but do they,
They turned many
like,
people back to Judaism who came to the
wow.
Abbey.
But do they still believe that ultimately everybody will, like, Jesus really is the ultimate?
Well, but one woman says to me, I said, how do we resolve this conflict? I believe the Messiah hasn't come and you believe there's a second coming. So she says, they were from France originally, and they were in America when I met them. She says, "Oh, Shoshana, if Jesus is the Messiah, okay. If he's not, okay." She says, "So what's important is the Messiah comes. Why are we arguing? We don't know."
Oh,
Like,
good for
and I
them.
was like, "Oh my gosh, how many Jews have been killed for this argument? Why,
Yep.
why wasn't she the one,
Wow.
giving the debate, organizing the debate?" But that's what her message to me was. We don't know, but we have our beliefs that were given to us. Like I asked her, why doesn't she convert to Judaism? Because they studied with an Orthodox rabbi, Chumash. They knew Orthodoxy was the way for me
Wow.
to. They turned me to Hasidim. They said, "Your soul is crying out for Hasidim." I said, "What's Hasidim?" I didn't know what they were. And they said, "They're the mystics of Judaism, and you're coming to us because we Catholics are the mystics of Christianity. So your soul is crying out for mysticism. Go find your Rebbe." And I'm like,
Wow.
I don't want a Rebbe. Like, why do I want a Rebbe? That's not what I want.
Wow.
But
Wow.
anyway, that when we're doing our mission, that's probably why we have such severe repercussions when we're not doing our mission, because
Yeah.
she's saying God made you born, or you converted to Judaism. You have to do what, like once you make the commitment has been made for you.
Yes, I mean it's a very real thing. This Israel and the world,
Because I
and
always
also
wondered,
the
Why is it so important for us to be Jews? You know, like what, before I was religious, I was like, I don't care. Like, what's the big deal? My grandfather, he loved it. Okay. But it's not for me. But I didn't realize until that those nuns said it to me how important it is.
Well, it's because yeah, because we're the only really have just an objective, deeply worked out thing of what is, you know, what it means to be good, what is justice, what is, and not, because that's ultimately, it's all about morality. It's all
I mean,
about
even in
ultimately.
the Quran, they call us the people of the book. You know, we have people, or the people of the law. You know, like we're
Yeah.
known for that. Christianity maybe is the people, if they were really doing Christianity, people of unconditional love. You know, like this incredible love that can transform the world. You know, Islam, maybe it's unconditional submission, you know, like to God. Like they have that when they're doing it, really doing it with a holy place. They are so amazing in that, you know, 5 times a day, no matter where they are, they go on the ground, they pray. You know, that's amazing. You know, my friend in Bahrain now, she just texted me and she said it's a 10-day fast now for them, because it's
10 day.
10 days before the Hajj, and she's going to Mecca. I mean, she's driving from Bahrain through Egypt. She texted me while she was in Egypt, going to the Hajj, and they're fasting for 10 days. They only
And
they
they're
only eat at
going
night.
then because that's when and where.
Their purification, and the Hajj is their holy, you know, like Lahavdil, you know, our Shavuot, our, you know, the place.
Because of Muhammad, something for him happened there, or
Well, Mecca was where the base of Islam occurred, and that's where the big mosque is. The whole, you know, it's like their Vatican. It's their Vatican, their
yeah,
Jerusalem.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
They prayed to that. They prayed in that direction.
Yeah.
But it's interesting when they're really doing it. This woman is really doing Islam. She's not violent. She doesn't support terrorists. She's like, you know, we can
I'm
make
really glad
peace.
to hear that. No,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm reading now, rereading a book about the history book about Jews in Arabic countries. It's called Ishmael something. I
Oh,
have it like 2 seconds away, but it's very depressing. The presentation is there that their basic stance to anybody theologically non-Islam is you have the dhimmi status, it's called, and
yeah, Dimi, yeah.
that's
Yeah, but look at, did we have it any
and
better
it's
under
not like
Christianity?
negotiable.
Did we have it any better under Christianity? 6 million of us died. You know, the Inquisition, you know, millions died because of Christianity. So, and they
Sure.
transformed. They're not dangerous to us anymore, you know?
Well, you know,
So,
it wasn't in this, but where did I hear a discussion about this? Oh, it might have been in the beginning of the book there. He might have said, because people, you know, I think he might have written a book about the Christian thing as well. It says, basically, the basic analysis is that in the Jewish experience in the Muslim world was it never got as bad as it got in the worst Christian situation.
right. Because we were
And in the
Christ killers.
Muslim world, it never got as good for the Jews as it was for the Jews in the
Interesting.
good Christian situations.
Right. Because when we were delineated as Christ killers, we were basically murderers. I mean, you know, at Easter time when Jesus, you know, has his, you know,
Sure.
the Passover Seder, and then they blame the Jews. They said he
Yep.
turned him in to Pontius Pilate. But when Pope John the 23rd came along in the late 1950s, 60s, you know, he did Vatican II, which said we all killed Christ. You know, we can't be blaming the Jews. We have to take all that liturgy out and transform the Catholic Church, because the Jews are the Father. You know, like they
And
connect to the
has
Father.
that happened to some extent?
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
Vatican III, I went to school one day, I'm a Christ killer. The next day, I'm forgiven. I don't know what for, but, you know, I'm
Right,
forgiven.
but just that,
They were
look, that's a
parroting.
very good sign. I mean, we do have to grow theologically and so on. So the fact,
It's not perfect. Catholic Church isn't perfect. We know from the Pope today, but Pope John Paul what is it, John Paul the 22nd or the second?
John Paul the 23rd, I think.
No, John Paul II.
Second.
Oh,
He was
okay.
amazing. He was the Polish cardinal who
Right.
who brought the Jews back. He took the babies and he took them out of orphanages and returned them to their parents. Like
Wow.
he had reconciliation. He did the reconciliation process. We know a woman who's a Jewish woman who became a nun in Poland, and she was his assistant. And